My first recommendation for vertical playing is to put your dominant hand on the side with the tone fields, and your non-dominant hand on the port. For example, I'm right-handed, so I will put my right hand on the side of the tone fields and my left hand on the side with the port. My second recommendation is to adjust the height of your chair or your feet so that you feel confident that your handpan won't slip. When playing, I also tend to lean into my handpan, allowing it to rest in my chest and stomach. A basic pattern that I use when playing vertically looks like this: right, left, left, right. That can translate as central tone, port, port, central tone. Let me give you an example. To build off that rhythm, I can replace one of the central tone strikes with a tone field of my choosing. To elaborate on that rhythm, I will alternate tone fields. As I alternate tone fields, I can create a melody. By alternating tone fields, it allows you to create a melody. Let's bring this up to speed. One of the advantages of playing vertically is having access to the Helmholtz resonance. Let me show you some techniques of how to activate it. The first technique uses a cupped hand and a strike on the open port. It sounds like this. Note that the goal is not to activate the sound of the port, but the Helmholtz resonance inside the handpan. A second technique is to use a closed fist and to lightly thump the edge of your handpan on the bottom. It should sound like this. Again, the goal is to activate the air chamber within the handpan. Another technique for activating the Helmholtz resonance is to bump the dome of your central tone. Be cautious with this, as it does not take too much force. I use the palm of my hand against the dome for a simple bump. It should sound like this. With all these techniques, it may be difficult to hear. You may need to use headphones or speakers with a strong bass response. Now that you're familiar with techniques of how to activate the Helmholtz resonance while playing vertically, let me show you some techniques of how to augment it while playing vertically. To augment the Helmholtz resonance, it means that you're adjusting how open or closed the port is. The first technique looks like this. Use a flat hand and strike the port. Instead of removing your hand, you leave it there. By doing so, you're closing off the port and augmenting the Helmholtz resonance. It can sound like this. It can also be done by cupping your hand striking and leaving your hand inside the port. Again, both techniques are augmenting the Helmholtz because they are closing off the opening of the port. The next technique I will show you from both sides as it involves both hands. From the port side, it looks like this. I'm going to thump the central tone with my palm and at the same time slide my hand into the port, therefore augmenting the sound because I'm closing off the opening. It can sound like this. Notice the slide comes directly after the strike. Let me show you from the other side. In this technique, I commonly place my fingers on the edge of the tone field so I can better control how hard I strike the central tone. Yet another advantage to playing vertically is the ease of access of one-handed harmonic isolations. Because the tone fields are so close and visible, it is very easy to be very accurate. Let me give you an example. One main disadvantage of when playing vertically is that you will not have access to all of your tone fields. This is because they are by your legs where you're supporting the handpan. One way around this is to rotate the instrument while you're playing. This can be done by using your hand on the port side, grabbing the port and spinning, like this. Note though that when you spin your instrument, it'll change the zigzag orientation. So be aware of how you change and what that means for your playing orientation. Let me give you an example of how this can be done. While playing vertically, you can create a variety of sounds using different types of strikes on the bottom of the instrument. For example, on this halo, the port is tuned, and by striking the edge of the port, I can access that sound. Another example is using a very flat stroke on the bottom. You can create a very sharp percussive tone, like this. If I use a roll, or a thumb finger technique, Notice by moving up and down the bottom, I can create a variety of textures. Here's an example of vertical playing using the majority of these techniques. Hello, and welcome to this DVD on advanced handpan techniques. This DVD has a variety of exercises and techniques that represent my personal playing style.